Who sights the moon in Ramadan? Do the breastfeeding or pregnant women fast? How do we know when Ramadan start and finish? And what are the invalidators of the fast? All these questions plus more answered in this short book.
والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه. الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتاب القرآن كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He explained al-kutiba alaykum siyam. Allah said it's written upon you or has been prescribed for you as siyam, fasting, as it would prescribe to those from before you. So last week we spoke about the importance of preparing yourself for Ramadan. Some of the Salaf of this Ummah used to say, or used to make a dua, asking Allah before meeting Ramadan. And some of the Salaf used to prepare for Ramadan 6 months ahead of this time. 6 months ahead of the time, and they used to supplicate to Allah that they will meet the month of Ramadan. As-Sawm, Sawm Ramadan, rukn min arkan al-Islam, wal fard min fara'id. So Sawm, the fast of Ramadan, is from the pillars, a pillar from the pillars of Islam. And it's something that is far from the fara'id, or that thing which Allah makes it far in Islam. So Ramadan, it is something that is far upon the Muslim. Fard, or you will hear some people or some scholars say, Fard or Wajib. Fard or Wajib. The word Fard and Wajib in this particular sense, in text, it means the same. So last week we talked about these introductions into fasting. We talked about a good introduction about what is Ramadan, how does it keeps away from the person, it lower his desire, keep him away from doing evil things, and to get him closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in worship. We mentioned all these things. And this is a hadith. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بني إسلام على الخمس. Islam was built upon 5 pillars. Shahada and la ilaha illallah, that there is no God worthy worship except Allah. Wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Wa iqamatu salah, and establishing the prayer. Wa ita'i zakat, and paying out the zakat. Wa hajj al-bayt, and making pilgrimage to the house of Allah, to Mecca. Wa sawmu Ramadan, wa sawmi Ramadan, and the fast of Ramadan. So we understand here, Islam, related to the 5 pillars of Islam, that Ramadan is from the what? 5th pillar of the fast. 5th pillar of the Islam, and it is the fast. So last week we mentioned brief thing. I talked about a lot of things. I mentioned about what should you do in Ramadan, what should the things the Muslim should prepare for, and I mentioned one of the things that Muslim prepare or beginning Ramadan, he looks for it, or the intentions for it, looking for the moon. Alright, this was the last talk. From last week, we spoke about the particular book that's in front of me, the superiority of the fast. And today we will talk about how to establish Ramadan, meaning the establishment of the beginning and the ending of Ramadan. The establishment in the beginning and the end of Ramadan. Al-Wujub al-Siyam, Wujub al-Siyami Ramadan bi ru'yati al-Hilaal. The obligation of the fast of Ramadan with viewing the moon. And I said that in New York, North America in general, even some of the Western countries where there are Muslim living, then you'll find that related to the issues of sighting the moon, there are issues. Related to issues of sighting the moon, there are issues. One of the issues about sighting the moon in Ramadan, the people differ on, do they follow international sighting or national sighting? If it's from the national sighting, people also have different views. Some people have different views on how to sight the moon. There are different committees. And some people from the laymen of the Muslim, from the Ahlam, the laymen of the Muslim, some of them don't know what to do. And some of them are troubled with sighting the moon in Ramadan. And I said it is because due to their lack of knowledge or understanding the fiqh behind sighting the moon in the month of Ramadan. So I said that every Muslim needs to understand about viewing the moon. This is a hadith. And Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Sawmu li ru'yatihi wa aftiru li ru'yatihi fa in gammi alaykum al-shahru fa uddu 30. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you fast with sighting the moon, and you break the fast with sighting the moon. The second part of the hadith, or the third part of the hadith, I will mention in the actual reading of the works that I compiled. So the obligation of the fast of Ramadan, or the obligation of Ramadan's fast, with sighting the crescent, the Hilaal. We know as the word as the crescent, the Hilaal. As the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith I mentioned, he said to fast with the sighting of the crescent and breaking the fast with the sighting of the crescent. And he said, فَإِن قُمِّ عَلَيْكُمْ الشَّهْرُ. He said, but if the sky is cloudy, then you do the month of 30 days, because due to not able to see the moon. So how do we establish the month? How do we establish Ramadan, the month of Ramadan? How do we know when it enters? This is the question. How do we know when the month of Ramadan enters? The month of Ramadan is established with sighting the Hilaal, the crescent. If it was seen by one Adal Muslim. What it means, Adal Muslim? This is very important. What does it mean by an Adal Muslim? A just Muslim, an upright Muslim. In the end of this particular chapter, we will go over what is an Adal Muslim. But for now, we're going to look at how as actually the sighting the moon. So one, you have to what? View the moon. It has to be what? View. Be ru'ya. What it means, viewing the moon, sighting the moon. This is very important because you have some people, like I said, that come down to Ramadan, the people different opinions, different things. Some people follow calculations. This is why I don't follow the national sighting in the U.S. Because most of the communities that doing the national sighting, they doing calculations. A lot of them are doing calculation. And you're going to see from this particular hadith that I'm going to mention that the sighting of the moon is not done by calculation. Rather yet, it's done by the viewing of the moon, not by calculating. And the Prophet said, if you don't see the moon, then you what? You should fast 30 days. Meaning complete the month of Ramadan for 30 days. So we understand the moon has to be what? Sighted. Sighting, visual sighting. 1, 2, just and righteous Muslim. So, if it was seen by an Adal Muslim, it is not then complete. If not, then complete 30 days. So we understand here, the moon has to be what? Number one, sighted with the eyes, or a tool with the eyes. 2, it has to be what? An upright Muslim. Keep this in your mind and your conscience, because this is very important with what you need to understand about sighting the moon. Narrated by Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, he said, the people witnessed, view the Hilaal, the crescent. So I informed Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, indeed I saw it, meaning the Hilaal. So I fast and order the people were fasting from his sighting of the Hilaal. This hadith is sahih. So Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu informed him about sighting the moon. So here, the Messenger of Allah, he got the information from a Muslim who is what? Upright. Who it is? Ibn Umar, upright Muslim. So Ibn Umar, he said the people witnessed the Hilaal. I'm sorry, he narrated, the people witnessed the Hilaal. So I informed Allah's Messenger. So he said the people sighted the moon, and he told the Messenger of Allah related to the people who sighting the moon. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered the people with fasting. 2. Next. So if the Hilaal, the crescent, is not seen, if it's not seen because of being cloudy, or something like that, like al-Qatar. Qatar means some type of darkness, some type of things preventing the moon from being sighted, or any type of darkness, complete the number of 30 days of the month of Shaban. Then it's related to by Abu Hurairah from the hadith previously. So if they're not able to see the moon within the 29th of Shaban, whatever he said, what? For them to complete 30 days of Sha'ban. Concerning the month of Shawwal, an interest does not establish except with the witness of 2 witnesses. Now I mentioned last week the view related to sighting the moon, you're going to have 2 different opinions related to seeing or sighting the Hilaal, whether if the person who sights the moon is 2 witnesses or 1 witnesses. I'm giving the people both views. The view here is talking about 2 witnesses. So concerning the month of Shawwal, a hadith regarding Abdul Rahman ibn Zayd radiyallahu anhu, he said, indeed he gave a sermon on a day there was no doubt in it. A day there was no doubt in it, meaning the cloud could not see the Hilaal, the crescent, or not. He said, indeed I sat with Allah's Messenger's companion sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and I asked them, verily they discussed with me. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to fast, all of you together in the Arabic text, all of you to fast with sighting the Hilaal, the crescent, and in the fast with sighting the Hilaal. All of us perform the fast with the sighting of the Hilaal, and if cloudy, then you will complete 30 days. So if 2 Muslims bear witness to the sighting of the Hilaal, you fast in the beginning of Ramadan, and you break your fast at the end of Ramadan with the sighting of the moon by 2 upright Muslims. This hadith is gathered in Jami al-Saghir, al-Sunnah al-Nisa'i, in the Sunnah al-Nisa'i, regarding the Amir of Mecca, al-Harith bin Khattab, on the authority of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he commanded us performing the fast with the sighting of the Hilaal. If we did not see it, the Hilaal, we perform the fast by the eyewitness, the account of the eyewitness of and just Adal Muslim, upright Muslim. What it means? The Muslim who is upright, righteous, is not a sinner. We go at this in time. At the end of this article, we talk about who is an Adal Muslim, what's considered by an Adal Muslim. With righteous, no, it's not a scholar. Citing Adal Muslim doesn't mean scholar here. If you can say a scholar who fear Allah, yes, he's Adal, he's just. But Adal Muslim, every Muslim is not a scholar in Islam. Who cite the Hilaal with 2 eyewitness of 2 Muslims. This is hadith, is from Sunnah Abi Dawood. So his statement, by the 2 eyewitness Muslims, we start the fast and we break the fast, starting Ramadan and ending Ramadan. In the hadith of Abdul Rahman ibn Zayd radiyallahu anhu, his statement, if we did not see the sighting of the Hilaal, the eyewitness count of our Adal Muslim, we perform the fasting along with the eyewitness of the 2 Muslims for the Hilaal. In the hadith of Harith, he have 2 indications which are understood as 2 Muslim or 2 eyewitness Muslims, and not permitting the eyewitness of 1 man when in starting Ramadan. So they didn't take the view of the sighting the moon or the one Muslim, just Muslim sighting the moon. They didn't take that particular view. Where they took the shahada or shahadatain from two Muslims upright. So there's something to be aware of. And he who view the Hilaal, the crescent, alone, the one who see the Hilaal by himself, he goes out, he sees the Hilaal by himself. He who views the Hilaal by himself for the ending of Ramadan, for the beginning of Ramadan or ending Ramadan, does he fast on his own? Did he start fasting? It is said, he does not fast until the people fast, and he does not break his fast the end of Ramadan. Regarding narrations of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, and fast and Psalm to fast the day all of you fast, and you break the fast in the Ramadan together. Meaning, and al-Adha is on the day you offer your sacrifice. And this hadith is authenticated, and is narrated by Abu Dawood and Tirmidhi and others. So there's some view that when the person he view the moon, he does not fast until the people start fasting. There's some ikhtilaf even in this particular issue, but most of the scholars agree that the person from the four madhab, from Imam Malik, Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahmad Hanbal, the person does not fast until the people fast. Imam Shafi, rahimahullah, he holds the opinion that he can fast if he view the moon on his own, that he can start his fast. But from the consensus of the scholars, they say that people must fast together. So when a person he sight the moon and the people start fasting, then he will fast with the people. No questions now. Shaykh Abdul Azeez bin Baz. Now, Shaykh bin Baz, rahimahullah, is going to talk about the other view. The particular other view is viewing the month by one eyewitness. And like I said, I like to give people both opinions, both views. So a person won't say, well, my Shaykh said this, other person say, my Shaykh said that. You know, maybe arguing and fighting, but it's good for the Muslim to understand both views or hear both views. Shaykh bin Baz, rahimahullah, holds the opinion that one witness is accountable or liable. A question was asked to Shaykh bin Baz, how do you establish the ending and the exiting of Ramadan? And what is the ruling on one person citing the Hilaal and entering and exiting the month of Ramadan, entering and exiting the month? He answered, to establish the entering and the exiting of the month with the testimony of an eyewitness of an Adal, of just Muslim. So the Muslim must be upright, he must be just. And one Adal Muslim, one upright Muslim, and more. He said to establish the entrance only with one upright Muslim. So it's okay, meaning it is okay to establish the month of Ramadan on the account of one Muslim who was upright, because it was established by the Prophet ﷺ for that. He said that if two eyewitnesses and they began their fast and end their fast, he established that the fast, ﷺ, he established the fast and he ordered the people to fast with the eyewitness of Ibn Umar. So he has another interpretation of the same hadith that I mentioned before. He has another interpretation of the same hadith that was mentioned before by Ibn Umar, that Ibn Umar heard the people say, or people viewed the moon, and he informed the Messenger of Allah that the moon was viewed. So the Prophet took the account of Ibn Umar as his testimony. So the Prophet ﷺ, for that, he said that the two eyewitnesses begin their fast and they fast. So he established their fast, ﷺ, and he ordered people to fast with the eyewitness testimony of Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, and with the eyewitness testimony of the Bedouins, nor did he seek any other testimony. And the wisdom that Allah knows best, the safeguard for those in entering and exiting the month of Ramadan. And do not act upon his testimony if the view of the Hilaal is alone, of the person alone. So that he fasts with the people starting Ramadan, and he ends the fast of Ramadan. And he does not act upon himself. Meaning that he does not, if he see the fast, he see the month of Ramadan, he see the month, he doesn't act on alone. He waits till the people start fasting together. For the correct statement of the people of knowledge, for the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, the fast is the day you all fast, meaning that you start Ramadan and the iftar break the end of Ramadan. The day all of you in Ramadan, what is Eid al-Fitr, you fast together. So the fasting, we understand that the witness count, that it should be 2 Muslim witnesses, 2 Muslims. One opinion is 1 just Muslim is okay. Other opinion is 2 upright Muslims. Now I'd like to talk about what is an upright Muslim. This is something very important. And this actual issue on what is a just Muslim or what is an upright Muslim, this issue is something that needs to be clear. What is the Adal Muslim? And its importance in sighting the moon, the crescent in Ramadan. This is a question and answer to Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, Hafidhullah, related to what is an Adal Muslim and why it is very important to have an Adal Muslim in regarding of sighting the moon. So the question is, how do we know that which is obliged for the sighting of the moon, the witness is an Adal, an upright Muslim? So what is known to be an Adal Muslim? What is known to be an upright Muslim? What does this mean? The Shaykh answered, Rahimullah, an Adal, the just, linguistically means a person who is mustaqim, steadfast in his religion, the opposite of crookedness. In the Sharia, it means who established the wajibat, the obligations of Islam, and he does not perform major sins, and he does not perform major sins like lying, committing shirk, bid'ah, innovation, and he does not do small sins. And what has intended with the establishment of the wajibat, meaning his obligations in Islam, the obligations of Islam is like the salat, like fasting, like paying zakat, like making hajj. Those things that are wajib upon the Muslim, obligatory upon a Muslim to do, that he performs them. And the Adal performs al-fard or fara'id. He applies everything that is considered, that's commanded by Allah, or Allah commands the believers to do, and if he do not do it, he sins. He does everything what Allah makes wajib upon him, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes fard upon him. So in this case, wajib and fard has 2 different meanings. So from the fara'id, which means he performs the fara'id, not from what the Shaykh is saying, but from define the word from the fara'id, or he's performing the wajibats in the fara'id, that which is obligatory, which proved beyond all shadows of doubt to have been enjoined in the Quran and the Sunnah. Something to be enjoined in the Quran and the Sunnah, that he's performing these things, or denying anything from the religion, or any type of disobedience, like the one who said Ramadan is not required. He is a disbeliever in Islam, he's apostate in Islam, for example. So the person who's the eyewitness Muslim, he does everything what Allah commands him to do from the wajibat and from the fara'id. He doesn't go against them. So the Shaykh says, now back to the translation, like the 5 salah, he prays the 5 salah, the upright Muslim. And he does not perform the big sins. Like what? What type of big sins? The sins the Shaykh said. Sins like what? Gossiping, al-namima. If he slanders a person one time and does not make tawbah, repentance, then he's not an adil Muslim. He's not an upright Muslim. Or from the qaba'ir, or from the major sins, like ghiba, backbiting. Ghiba is to mention about our brother and what he disliked, from criticizing his appearance and the manners or deen. For appearance, for example, that you would say, or he would say, the man is one-eyed. Maybe he has a crookedness, something problem in one eye. Or his nose is crooked. Or his mouth is big. Whatever is similar to that type of speech. And the Shaykh continues and said, related to manners, you like to say, for example, the one who is not upright, he likes to say, this fool is quick in his temper, or jumpy, nervous. Or that which is similar to this type of speech, so we can understand here. The one who what? Criticize people, backbite people, the one who spread gossip. This is something very important. Related to Ramadan and not related to Ramadan. This shows that the Muslim who is doing these things, the person who's doing these things, he's not an upright Muslim. Gossip and namima. There's a hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I can't quote the hadith word to word. It's a hadith you could find in Kitab al-Tawheed by Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab in Fi Bab al-Sihr, in the chapter related to magic. The Shaykh Rahimullah put in the chapter related to magic, namima, gossip. Someone say, why would you put gossip in the chapter related to sihr? Sihr is shirk al-akbar. Practicing magic in Islam is shirk akbar. It is major shirk. So why would you put namima, gossiping, in a chapter related to sihr? Somebody should have wisdom. Because sihr related to gossip, one scholar said the effect of magic might take a year to happen. The effects of magic, a person doing magic, practicing magic on somebody or against somebody, the effects of it might take a year to happen. So he said that gossip could destroy a person in 1 hour compared to sihr, which might take a year. In 1 hour. And it calls, in sihr, it divides people. Sihr, magic, for example, some magic people practice, like the Yahud, we read in Quran about the Yahud, a type of sihr that separate the husband from the wife. Alright? And he said the sihr might take some time, like a year for it to actually take place or to manifest. But he said, namima in 1 hour could destroy a person. Worst, or the magnitude of sihr, just in 1 hour alone. We look even today in our society, gossiping. How much gossiping destroys people's lives. Spreading rumors about people. Destroy a person's life. Destroy his reputation. Cause problem in the home. Cause destruction in the house. So yes, it separates people. Gossiping and talking about people and gossiping about people, spreading this gossip or spreading this ghiba, this backbiting, which is spreading it, is also spreading namima. It destroys a person. So this is why the Shaykh said the one who is an Adal Muslim, upright Muslim, inciting the month of Ramadan, he has to be an upright Muslim, Adal Muslim, free from ghiba, namima, criticizing people, talking about people, backbiting people, spreading gossip. This is not a just Muslim. So we have a benefit from this, from inside of Ramadan, related to sighting the moon, and even outside of Ramadan, with our everyday lives. This is something that our Muslim, we should try our best to remove from ourselves. Gossiping, backbiting, lying. The Shaykh furthers and say, and the same with backbiting. He said, backbiting him, or in his presence, and criticizing his deen, like you say, he's neglectful or negligent in his salah. Or this, nor is he dutiful to his parents. Criticizing, talking about people. This is backbiting in Islam. Backbiting in Islam is to say something about your brother that he dislikes. Even in his face. Even in his face. To say something about your brother that he does not like, he dislike. So even in Islam, ghiba, these things, a person who practices these things, he's not an upright Muslim. The scholars of fiqh have elaborated on this topic in many details about what is ghiba, what is backbiting, what is namima. So we notice in the month of Ramadan and sighting the moon, that the person who sights the moon must be an Adal Muslim, upright Muslim. Why? Because if he's not an upright Muslim, he comes with his testimony in Islam, the one who's not upright, the one who's busy to namima, gossiping, backbiting, who a fasik? In reality, he's a fasik. He is corrupted in his religion. His religion is corrupted. A fasik is the person who does not follow the obedience of Allah. And gossiping and backbiting people, this person is not obeying Allah with this type of action. Rather yet, he earns Allah's anger. Gossiping. This is why the Shaykh Hafidullah, Shaykh Rahimullah, Shaykh Muhammad Wahab, in his book related to Tawheed, he puts namima, gossiping. He even put this in the chapter related to magic. He said because the effects of a gossip could be more severe compared to, in 1 hour, could be more severe compared to practice of magic, the effects of magic being practiced on a person for 1 year. So we understand that we want to be an upright Muslim, upright person, we have to get rid of these things out of our characteristics. Allah says, وَلَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسِكُمْ وَلَا تَنَاوَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ. This is in Surah Al-Hujarat. Don't find fault with your brothers. Don't call them bad names. Don't backbite. All these type of deeds, all these type of actions, if a person practices these things, he's not an upright Muslim. And Allah says, if he doesn't repent, and then Allah calls the one who does this, does not repent, as the oppressor. So we see that the upright Muslim, he has to be free from these things. Continue from the Shaykh. Nor do a person contradict Islam. Meaning the deen. This is a contradict the deen. So the Adal Muslim, somebody practices Islam outwardly and inwardly, and he is not contradicting Islam. This does that contradict Islam. But fall into major sins or minor sins. If a person contradicts, fall into sin like ghibah, backbiting, and namima, gossiping, for example. Like the example of the one who eats the food in the market without permission. SubhanAllah. You know how people go to the market and they buy the food and they taste the food? They don't ask permission of the owner of the shop. The Shaykh even considered a person who does this, he's not upright because he doesn't seek the permission of the person. He said, he who mocks and riddles the people, which is following the statements of, and that which is similar to that. Meaning following up, mocking people, mocking what they do, following up what they do, making fun of them, all of these things is not an upright Muslim. Then the Shaykh Rahimullah, he said, but it's obliged that we say that the witness, the testimony in wealth, like money transaction, is not like the witness in things related to the deen. He said in wealth, money and business transaction, that we emphasize particular in much of these days and ages from those who bear false witnesses. So even with testimony related to things related to legislation, the Sharia, we be very mindful because people falsify information. But he said the religious testimony related to things like sighting the moon, for example, we try to exclude the lies of the people. Except that their lies is something that mislead people. So the Shaykh, he's saying this for a particular reason. You know, he's saying this actually for a reason. He said, such as the lies, for example, that we see in much countries. The Shaykh is saying this for a particular reason. He's saying this because what? He said, for example, if a person witnessed the halal entering Ramadan, and he's given some type of reward for this, meaning that the people going out looking for the moon, they're going out because they know they're going to get a reward for it. The Shaykh says what? Did they get some type of payment? Or they bear witness of sighting the moon of Shawwal, which enters the fast of Ramadan, and he takes a reward for this? Takes some type of payment? This is misleading. He said this is itself is misleading, and it weakens the faith. Why? Because people will lie for money. So the Sheikh's trying to say that they shouldn't be offered money to sight the moon, because people what? Bear false witness, just to get them the money or the reward. He said, if he does not see, another condition. He said, if he does not see, the person is blind, have weak eyes, basically. Meaning his eyesight is bad or he's blind. And the condition with the being equitable, being an upright Muslim, it must be also, along with him being a righteous, upright Muslim, he must have what? Strong eyesight. He must have what? Strong eyesight. So when he convey his testimony and what he's calling to, meaning sighting the moon, if he has weak eyesight, then his testimony is not accepted. And the Adal, if it's weak in his eye, but he's upright, indeed, we know that this is a false impression. And so this is the statement of the Shaykh. May Allah have mercy upon him, Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. We will conclude with that part. So, the sighting the moon, you have I gave two different views. The first view I gave you is sighting the moon with the account of two witnesses. Then Shaykh bin Baz, rahimahullah, he accepts the view of sighting the moon with one witness on the account of Ibn Umar. But in the second view, the first view I gave you on the account of two witnesses, Ibn Umar heard it or seen it from another group of people. So that in reality, it was two or more. In reality, it wasn't just one person, but he's the one who informed the Prophet ﷺ on sighting the moon. This is why I take the first view, that sighting the moon for Ramadan is from two upright Muslims. So we learn what? First thing we learn is that the moon must be sighted with the eyes, or sometimes the tools for the eyes. So that means that we do not follow calculations. This goes back into now New York. In North America, you have many of the communities right here in North America, they follow the calculations. We do not follow calculations. I say it again. We're sighting the moon for Ramadan. There is no calculation. You have people that calculate. We have many people in North America because in some years, they cannot see the moon in Ramadan. So they follow calculations. This is how they make the calendar for the whole year. That's based upon calculation. If we look at the Salah calendar, for the time of Salah, when the months come in, when the months go out, we know in Islam, we know the month enter and exit from what? Sighting the moon. We don't rely on calculations. So when the month of Ramadan comes, you have many people in North America, many masajids who do the national sighting. A lot of them are relying on calculations. We do not follow calculation for sighting the moon. We follow what? As the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Somu li ru'yah. All of you fast with what? Related to what? Sighting the moon with your eye. Or using a tool to sight the moon, which is okay. But not with calculations. Related to calculations, actually that is something that was started from the Shia. The calculation, something was started. Majority of people who started this or followed this, or actually the Rafida Shia. Because you know the Shia, they like to be different from the Sunni Muslim. That's why you can find in many countries, Ramadan start for us, they start the day before or the day after. When we have it, sometimes you follow them having the day before or the day after. Some cases 2 or 3 days after us. You'd be surprised. They try to be different from the Sunni Muslim. So some of the views of calculation, some of those views and understanding came from the Rafida Shia. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah said about calculation. He said, whoever say that reference should be made to calculate based on the phases of the moon, his view is to be rejected on the base of the wordings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are an unlettered nation. We do not calculate or write. The month is like this and like that. So the correct view is that which was stated from the majority and anything else is wrong is to be rejected based upon clear hadith. So it's understood that we view the moon. We don't follow calculations. This goes back to what I said from last week. Starting the beginning of Ramadan, looking for the moon, and the end of Ramadan, this is when we have in North America, particularly in New York, a lot of fitna. Here, I'm not talking about do we follow international sighting or national sighting. That's another issue. Believe it or not, that's another issue which have different opinion. We talk about that maybe next time because we don't have a lot of time. But both views related to international sighting or national sighting, there are some views that are okay related to both issues. But the thing today, the fitna today with the Muslims, especially in New York, in North America, they're not doing it together. This is one of the major issues. And this is why when I compile this book, or this e-book, I make sure to put a chapter about sighting the moon, how it's sighted. Because if there's fitna, if there's trials and tribulations people are facing, a lot of times the people are falling into these trials or they're differing in these issues because majority of the people do not understand the clear text or the foundations related to moon sighting in general. I gave a sister this article, this thing I worked. I gave it to a sister to edit for me. And I asked her when I edited it, I asked the sister, what did you learn from it? What had the pros and cons? What type of grammar mistakes I had? What type of, was it fluency? What about the things that are written in the air or are compiled in it that affected you the most or did you learn from? She said, sighting the moon. She said, and sighting the moon. How the moon is sighted. She said, that's what I got from this booklet that you made, that you compiled. She said, I never knew about the sighting of the moon or how. And I said, this is why I put it in there, because there's many people who are born Muslim, in the Muslim country, in the Muslim world, in America, in Saudi Arabia, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in Egypt. They don't know how the moon is sighted. And especially here in North America, the different about sighting the moon. Wallahi, if you go on the internet right now, and you type in, how do you sight the moon or communities about sighting the moon, put it on YouTube, put it on Google, you see all type of videos and all type of websites come out. People arguing about the issue. Many arguments and debates. Because many of the ahwam from the layman of the Muslim do not understand from the point of view from a student of knowledge or being studious how the moon is actually sighted. How did the Prophet ﷺ sight the moon? What's an authentic hadith? Which hadith are not authentic related to the issue? What is a weak opinion and what is a strong opinion related to sighting the moon? We don't know. Even in other books related to Ramadan, many times the books are written in English or compiled in English language. We don't even get into deep detail about sighting the moon and how. They don't get deep into it. So this is why we find in New York, people are arguing, for example, well, we're going to have national sighting or international sighting. This is a big debate in New York. Every year, every masjid. So you, like I said, you have one masjid, they're doing national sighting, one masjid doing international sighting. Sometimes in the last few years, we've been forced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to start Ramadan together and end Ramadan together. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with this. Alhamdulillah. But there's many issues and many times there are people who are looking. They don't want to start with certain communities. They don't want to follow certain things. And we talk about that another time, about national, international sighting. But before we can talk about whether I'm going to take the view of a national sighting or international sighting, which both of them are okay, we first have to understand al-asl, the origin of the issue. From Quran and Sunnah, how do people actually view the moon? So we understood. Let's conclude. We understood from what? Number one, it must be viewed with the eye. By what? Two upright Muslims. Right? Two upright Muslims. So that's two right there. It must be viewed, so that means that no calculations. We don't follow calculations. It must be an upright Muslim who view the moon. Alright? It must inform the people. He must also inform the people. And I mentioned that a person who view the moon, did he start fasting on his own? He must inform the peoples. In today's times, alhamdulillah, in many of the Muslim world, they have committees for this, for Ramadan and viewing the moon. They have their committees. We talk about later about other Muslim countries, why they fast different days in Ramadan. We talk about that another time. But we understand from the origin, the asl, that you must be an upright Muslim. You must view the you must view the moon, and there must be an upright Muslim, 2 witnesses, at least 2 eyewitnesses, upright. Now you describe what does it mean to be upright. What it means to be upright. No, I'm not asking. Not yet. What it means to be upright, I'm saying that just for you to think. It means that it must be practice what Islam say, all the wajibat and the fara'id. The wajibat and the fara'id of Islam. He must be free from certain things like what? Gossiping and backbiting. I mention that the most because in the likeness of today, many of us, we fall into these type of issues of backbiting and passing and spreading gossip and talking about people. This is something that the Muslims today are trialed with a lot, and even in the Muslim community. Even in the Muslim community, there's many people, people are trialed, even inside the Muslim community. I hear many stories about Muslims, about gossip being spread by them. It destroys their life. So, even from the article, related to what is an upright Muslim, this is very beneficial for us in our everyday life. Especially when Ramadan enters. We'll talk about next week, inshallah. What we have to do in the fast. Next, we want to end with this. Someone had some questions from last week. There's about 3 first question. We really will answer the next talk. Because the next talk will get in details. But I will give you a basic answer for the first question. The second question, we will get into actually next week. But I will talk about it in detail. Because it'll be a good introduction into our class for next Friday, inshallah. So the first question is related to a person's mother. We'll summarize the question. Somebody who was elderly, in their 90s. He said, my mother's in her 90s. She is diabetic. She has been doing Ramadan, meaning a fast, but the last couple of years it has been getting very hard for her. Very hard for her. And she mentioned some things related to her health condition, her physical health condition. Next week we'll get into the details, but we'll give you a quick answer. And next week, inshallah, I will give you the Adal, because it's part of the class. For the one who is sick, Allah gave a ruqsa for the one who is sick. Ruqsa means He gave him some type of permission not to fast. Now, for the one who is sick or traveling, we understand that he makes up the days. So Allah gives ruqsa only for the one who is sick and the one who is traveling to make up the days. Now, related to the sick person, there are 2 issues related to a sick person. Because there's more issues actually related to, we say sick. There's women who are pregnant during Ramadan. There's women who are breastfeeding in Ramadan. Should they fast or not? There's some different opinions, and this is what we go about next week. So that's why I want to give them all the answers. I want something the brothers look forward for next week. But when a person is sick, there's 2 type of ways of being sick. There's sick where you are sick, but in a few days, a week, or you will recover. Alright? So one who has type of sickness, and he will recover from this sickness, then it's upon him al-qada. It's upon him to make up the fast. Now you have some people who have illness, like people who are elderly and old, they have some sickness, there is no recovery from it. Alright? There is no recovery from this type of illness, like being diabetic. There is no recovery for a person who is diabetic, 90 years old, or diabetic. Most likely there is no recovery for them. So they have what you call a chronic illness. The correct word in English is called chronic illness. Somebody has, being diabetic is a chronic illness. There's no cure for it. So a person who's 90, who's not able to fast, old, and are sick with diabetes, if you understand being diabetic, people who's diabetic have to watch their sugar, they have to have some type of food or intake, correct? So a person who's 90 years old, not able to fast, then upon them is feeding 1 poor person each day of Ramadan. Alright? So the person said about his mother, that he should do for his mother, for each day of Ramadan, give them food. Next week we talk about how much food. How much food? How much food? We'll talk about that next week, inshallah. Next question. If someone missed, I think he's talking about the suhoor, and he woke up late for suhoor. He missed it for some reason, and he woke up late. He could not eat. What should that person do? And if he or she continues to fast in the following, it could be end up fasting for more than 30 hours with no food, no drink. What is in this case? Okay, this is a good question. We'll get to that answer next week, but I'll give you half. I give you the clear answer and I give you the proof next week. That's a better way to say it. Rated a person who wakes up late during the day hours of Ramadan. First thing about Ramadan, answering of Ramadan is based upon al-niyat, intentions. Alright, we'll go over that next week, inshallah, about the niyat, the intentions related to the fasting. When should intentions be made? For example, if the one went to sleep intending to fast the next day, and he wake up late, should he continue his fast? Yes. Yes. Why? There's some narrations we have. When the Messenger of Allah ﷺ related to a person who woke up and he had relations with his spouse, and then he woke up, didn't make ghusl, that person continued to fast. Next, about the one when Ramadan enters, the fast entered, but the news didn't reach everybody. That particular day, the way it fast didn't reach everybody. So it might reach some of the people during the day hour. And they said today is the first day of Ramadan. So if that person, for example, his intention for first day of Ramadan is a different answer. Some scholars say he should make up that fast because his intention wasn't to fast. But we're fasting now in the day hour, and we know that it's in the middle of Ramadan, we're fasting, and we have teachers to fast, and you wake up late, then you should continue to fast, because in some narrations you'll find the Prophet told the people to fast during the day hours, and they continue to fast, even though they didn't take suhoor. They continue to fast. Alright? So the one who missed his suhoor, he wake up late, he wake up during the time, he should continue to doing his fast. But we'll get into a more detailed answer next week. One more question. The one who eats in Ramadan intentionally. And unintentionally, the one who eats unintentionally during Ramadan. Okay, so the guy, he was eating, alhamdulillah, Ramadan hour come, he forget he is fasting, and he eats a certain portion of food. We say that it's okay. If it's done unintentionally, it is okay. We say that Allah gave him something to eat and drink. It's something Allah gave him. If he did it unintentionally, he ate by accident, then we say okay. But there's another scenario. The other scenario is he's in the mood of eating and drinking, and he forgets he's fasting. And while he's eating and drinking, he realizes he's fasting. He knows if he continued to eat on and on and on, for sure he broke his fast. For sure he broke his fast. If somebody intentionally forgets and he's eating, he forgets his fasting, and he remembers, okay, this is food in his mouth. He sees more food on the plates. He says he's fasting, and he continues to eat. For sure, he broke his fast. He broke his fast. But one who ate something, you ate it, it's finished, or whatever, or you ate a certain portion of it, and then you realize you're fasting, then he shouldn't eat nothing else after that. And his fast is...
Who sights the moon in Ramadan? Do the breastfeeding or pregnant woman fast? How do we know when Ramadan start and finish? And what are the invalidators of the fast? All these questions plus more answered in this short book.